Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Welcome to another episode of Modern Chiropractic Mastery. This is your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, and today I'm bringing you a solo episode. I'm going to dive into kind of a trifecta of things that have really helped me with guiding me on what I guess success is, right? It's a term that's laced with a lot of doubt, thoughts, what does success look like? But I think ultimately it's how you define it. And I've used these three frameworks, in particular the first two, and kind of the third is a little cherry on the top, to help guide me and ultimately feel like I'm making progress, and also, help with a path. I think a lot of times we see all these shiny objects that get us off the path because we don't have a vision or a framework for what we're trying to do, or B, we have it, but we're not really sold on it, or we haven't collaborated with our partner or significant other on it. And those shiny objects get us off the path there as well. And so in today's episode, I'm going to dive into three different frameworks and what they are and kind of how I use them. The first framework is from Strategic Coach, and that is the 4 freedoms. You may have heard me talk about that a bit. The second framework will be Cal Newport's The Deep Life, which I really like. And then the third will be Ramit Sethi, and that's Ramitsethi, and his concept of having a rich life. He's got the book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And so let's dive into those today and what I use that for, because I think a lot of us struggle in the day-to-day, whether your practice is doing well, or if it's just skating by, or it's not. I've talked to a lot of chiropractors in all three of those categories, and all three of those categories still have chiropractors within them that are not happy and not fulfilled and struggling in their own way. And I think ultimately having a framework to help guide you will help. And so let's dive into the first one, which is, again, Strategic Coach's 4 freedoms. And that is the freedom of money, freedom of time, freedom of purpose, and freedom of relationships. And let's break that down. Freedom of time. As a chiropractor, most of you are chiropractors, you're most likely not going to have the ultimate freedom of time where if you're in the meat and potatoes of your career where you can kind of do whatever you want, right? I liken the example of John Lee Dumas, who has the podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. And I've been fortunate enough to meet him in Puerto Rico, and I've listened to his podcast on and off for years. And he, his podcast course back in 2016 is what got me into podcasting. But this is someone that is an outlier who, he's probably got a $3 million a year business. He publishes his monthly financials on his website, and it's usually like $200,000 to $300,000 a month in revenue and $40,000 to $60,000 in overhead. And he batches his episodes, and he doesn't work a lot. He talks about that, and he really has quite a lifestyle. And he talks about how he doesn't want to build a business any bigger than it is. He could have 50 employees. He could start working towards building this thing, but ultimately he's got freedom of time, freedom of location, all those things. And as a chiropractor, we're probably not going to have that type of, 4-hour work week, most likely. Maybe down the road, but if you're in the thick of your career, we got to be real, you got to be realistic with what freedom of time looks like for you. And so, it may not be a 4-hour work week. It may not be able to, travel wherever you want to be and be in different locations throughout the year, like some people, right? Nomadic lifestyle that we've heard about. But compared to a lot of other professionals and doctors and lawyers and other, people with full-time careers and jobs, we do have a lot more freedom of time than most. A lot of you have 2 half days a week, Monday through Friday. You have Saturday, Sunday off. Some of you have Fridays off, so you work 4 days a week. And I know other chiropractors that have less. I've had it where I wasn't treating patients before. I've had it where I was treating patients 2 days a week. Now, granted, I was doing a lot of things with MCM and also CSA, but there are people that have even more time off from that. And so there is a really good, potentially, when you work hard and build a nice practice, a good freedom of time that you have, and carving that out and even designing your hours that suit your family. I know some chiropractors that get in the office at 6:45 a.m. but are done by 3 p.m. every day, and that their particular community, it works for with that. I know some people that are the opposite. They kind of like to sleep in and they start their day at 11 and end at 7, right? So there's a lot of different ways you can have some freedom of time. And so you want to see how you're doing with that. Let's take a break from today's episode and announce our first sponsor. This is going to be Propel Marketing and Design. I've known Darcy Sullivan for years. We've worked hand in hand on my websites. I don't trust anybody else to do this search engine optimization. She does a great job. There's so much to it. A lot of the lingo and the words are beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing work that she does. And if you're really going to get results with Google, you have to make sure your website is SEO optimized. And I really don't want you doing it yourself as a chiropractor. So you just have to have this type of stuff done. And if you're looking to get more organic online traffic that pulls in new patients, Propel Marketing and Design is currently offering chiropractors who listen to this podcast a free SEO website review. The free review will help you uncover methods that will improve your website and boost your search engine visibility. Head over to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor and schedule your free SEO website review. You won't regret it. She gets great results. Your website needs this. Your search results need this. Head on over there to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor to get your free SEO website review. Freedom of money, right, doesn't mean you are financially free in the sense where you could retire and all your bills are paid by your investments, but it just means that you have cash confidence. The way I've been looking at it more with this freedom of money is that you have cash flow confidence in your practice. I really like Greg Crabtree's structure with, having liquidity where you've got 2 months of emergency savings, you've got an unused line of credit. In your personal life, you've got your emergency savings. You've got those layers of protection. You got that financial fortress that I've spoken about around your practice. And you could search on our website if you want to listen to that episode. I did one on building a financial fortress around your family. But ultimately, you feel like you have the security financially, you have cash flow confidence, right? And you're making progress within that. And so there's a whole lot more that we dive into. We go through in our coaching, we do a whole 4 buckets of finances, but we're really trying to lay a roadmap for you to have freedom of money and contributing to your retirement in a healthy manner each month, paying down debt in a healthy manner each month. It doesn't mean you're driving Lambos and you got, money coming out of your ears, right? But you can definitely have freedom of money, and that's a big one. Let's take a short break for one of our great sponsors, TrackStat. It is a new type of software plugin for your EHR that combines patient communication, marketing, automation, and statistics with patient and employee tracking. Built by chiropractors for chiropractors, it shows your team what to focus on each day. See patient visit habits, missing information, unpaid bills, insurance collection visit average, and more. Great visibility of data so you can focus on filling your office with your best patients. When you can see what your staff and patients are doing or not doing and take action accordingly, your profits naturally grow. Take TrackStat for a test drive in your office with our free trial. Not a techie, no problem, we can help. To get started on your free trial, visit trackstat.org and watch the demo. That is trackstat.org. Next one is freedom of purpose. I believe as a chiropractor, You inherently have that as a healer, which is great. There may be other aspects of your life, maybe it's spiritual, that you get purpose, your family, but we are checking off a big box as a healer typically. Now, what happens is if you're not careful and you get burned out and you're not, you don't have freedom of time and freedom of money, and you're just really grinding it hard for too long and you can't get out of it, that'll start to erode the freedom of purpose potentially of what you do as a chiropractor. And you may become jaded and you may become burned out. And then you lack that freedom of that purpose you get from healing that you might have gotten 10, 15 years prior. So monitor yourself on that one. And then fourth is freedom of relationships. Right, that's gonna be your, friends, your family, obviously, but it's also going to be your working relationships. I feel like I've got such a good sweet spot with this freedom of relationship, where within my family and friends, doing really good with that. I really like the patient base that I have. There's always going to be 10% that you don't like, but I enjoy my patient base and the conversations I have with them, and that's great. And then ultimately, I do a lot within the profession, and and travel and our mastermind and speaking, and really have connected with a lot of our colleagues. And so I have a ton of relationships, which I enjoy. And so I feel like I'm doing well in the relationship category, and I'm always monitoring that. Like right now, I'm probably pretty low on the freedom of time, but the other three I'm feeling rather good about, and that can alter sometimes. If this was a year ago, I was feeling really good about freedom of time. Wasn't treating patients, focusing a lot on MCM and growing the practice as well. But right now, a little bit low on the freedom of time, but there's definitely a plan in place to achieve that. And that's what this is about, right? Like you're using this as gauges to see where you're at. And then do you have a plan to improve the freedom of time? It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen next year, but if you're working towards that, that's going to really help you out. And so for me, out of those four, freedom of time is one where I'm building a strategy in right now to get better at. The other three I want to continue and maintain. All right, the second one is the second kind of framework, which I really like, is Cal Newport's Deep Life. Give you a little background on that. He's got a podcast. He talks about this. He's written a book about it. It has not been released yet. I think it's later this year in 2024 about the deep life. But he does have a blog. You could just Google Cal Newport, the deep life. And he was one that wrote the book called Deep Work, which I really liked. And I was really how to actually do deep work. A lot of us are not. We're doing a lot of surface level stuff. But he talks about what's it like to have a deep life. And I think ultimately that's a great marker of success, is if you feel like you're having a deep life. And some of these categories will, you'll see some kind of, a little bit of similarities to the four freedoms, but different. This one he's got is 5 C's that make up the deep life. And the first one is community, right? So that might be a lot similar to freedom of relationships. But in his community, he's like, are you checking off the box with friends, family, your colleagues, your community, things of that nature, right? So that kind of, I won't dive too much deeper into that, but are you checking off the box of that, whether you go the freedom of relationships or the community bucket in his deep life? The next one is craft, which I really enjoy. I think that's a big one. And I think a lot of you enjoy what you do for a living. We all have a lot of friends and family that make enough money and do well financially, but hate their craft. They don't have a craft sometimes. It's just like a job that they don't enjoy at all. It pays the bills, so they're stuck in it forever. We have a unique ability where if we can really just focus on our craft, keep on getting better as a doctor. I recently asked Mark King on last week's episode about like what age did he feel like felt like he really had it locked in, and I think it was either 43 or 45. So it takes some time, but enjoy that process. If you're 30 and you're getting better but you're in the weeds clinically, just realize that it gets better, but just keep on honing that craft. And people that really enjoy what they do for work and get a lot of satisfaction out of it, it really helps build that deep life. So, really get yourself clear on what kind of chiropractor you want to be, what kind of doctor you want to be for your patients, what kind of patient base you want to have, like what's that ideal practice, and start working towards honing that craft. And that's the second C in his deep life. The next is going to be constitution. That's going to be your health. Okay, that's going to be your physical health. It's also going to be your mental health, and you're doing how you're doing with that. And so you really got to check those boxes. I think, as a doctor, you don't need me to sit here and preach on that, but if that's an area or there's an area within that bucket you need to clean up, I highly recommend it for 2024. So that's constitution is your health. The next he has is contemplative, and that's going to be, whether you're religious, maybe you have your religion, or spiritual of some sort, or even if it's philosophical and stoicism is your thing, or meditation, something that's more into that contemplative aspect to where you're thinking about things a little bit more deeper than just what's on the surface there. And so wherever that is for you and whatever you find for that, totally your decision. Obviously, you don't need me to say that, but that's a big one. And I've found that for my life to be really big. Like for me, I've done a lot with meditation. I've done a lot with philosophy like Stoicism. I do a lot of like self-help and learning and reading. I am religious, Christian faith. And so that's been really helpful for me and my family, and belonging to the church and getting involved with that. But that bucket's a big one, and you got to make sure, however you slice it, you got something going on there. Okay. Let's take a short break from our episode, and let me tell you about this awesome company I personally use in my clinic, and that is ChiroUp. ChiroUp isn't your average online platform. It's the brainchild of chiropractors Drs. Tim Bertelsmann and Brandon Steele, and it has grown to a community over 3,000 of the best chiropractors in the world. I've actually worked with these guys before, and let me tell you, they're the real deal. ChiroUp is a goldmine of protocols from over 120 conditions we deal with every day, all neatly packed into one online hub. Why does this matter? Because not only are you able to diagnose smarter and faster, but you can also get this information into the hands of your patients in just 4 clicks. And they're 100% backed by evidence. How cool is that? But here's what really got me hooked. ChiroUp is all about stepping up the game in chiropractic care. I'm all for that, and I know you are too, because you're listening to this podcast. Seriously, if you haven't checked them out yet, drop everything and head to chiroup.com/Christy. That's CHIROUP/CHRISTIE.com. You'll be able to set up a free 14-day account with no payment information needed. Once you see what's in there and fall in love with it, use the code Christy15 to save some cash. Start now and you'll thank me later. Trust me on this one. This code is valid for new subscribers only. And then 5th is celebration. And that's just going to be, what are you doing to enjoy yourself, right? You're working hard. You're taking vacations. If you like fishing, are you fishing? If you like golfing, are you golfing? Like what's going on in your life where you're able to really celebrate the wins, enjoy yourself, and have enjoyment in your life? And that really rounds out what Cal Newport talks about as a deep life. Okay. And then, the cherry on top for it is, Ramit Sethi's, what's your rich life? And the way he talks about it's not in a superficial manner, like, you got to have the cars and the boats and the airplanes and the country club memberships and all that. But, if you're working hard and you're doing pretty well financially, and, you feel good, you're financially secure, and you're contributing to your retirement as needed. You're saving money. You've got emergency savings. You don't have bad debts. You're just in a really good place financially and all the other aspects. There's nothing wrong with having that dream as a family of maybe it's that, second house on the lake, right? If you do like fishing a lot, maybe it's a little fishing boat. Maybe it's 3-week vacations to Europe once a year, right? Maybe it's a car, it's a 1971 muscle car that you've always dreamed about having, and you want to have that. Maybe it's a motorcycle. I don't care. Like, I mean, the list goes on. But if you're working hard and you're enjoying yourself and you're checking off all the other boxes, what is your rich life for your family? Maybe it is the country club membership and you want to get the kids into golf. It's just like there's a lot of cool things that you don't have to do everything, but if you work hard and you do, you do the right stuff financially, why not celebrate a little bit? Why not have something that's something that you enjoy, or your family enjoys, your wife enjoys, your husband, whatever, kid. There's nothing wrong with having that little cherry on top. And to me, I think that's something to aim for. It doesn't have to be the guiding light. I think the first two frameworks would be really good frameworks. If you start doing an audit of yourself and seeing where you fall into those buckets, and then lay out a game plan from there. And that's something that we try to really instill with our coaching clients, is that, yeah, we push them. We want them to work hard, but at the same time, we want them to have a vision of what their practice is going to look like, a vision of what their life is going to look like, and then kind of a reverse engineering of making that happen so that you are enjoying what you do for a living. You show up to work and you're kind of in that flow state because, the money's taken care of. You got your half days coming up and you feel secure financially. You got that, you got the relationships good, everything's good at home, or it's getting better, right? Like, nothing is always perfect, but are you making progress in the right direction? And no one can tell you what success is. You can define it for yourself. And I believe these three topics or frameworks can help get you there. You'll just have to think on it a little bit, collaborate with your significant other, and then go from there. I hope that was helpful. That's how I think of things. That's how I look at how I'm progressing and succeeding and what fulfills me in my life. And I hope you can find the same. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time-free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth, and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things. And we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.